Hi there, in this video I would love to talk to you about something called spiky profiling. I'm Nikki Butler, also known as the Autistic Joyologist, and spiky profiling was something that I discovered following Professor Amanda Kirby on LinkedIn. I really resisted reading and learning about spiky profiling because to me that spiky made me feel like it was assuming I was aggressive or I was volatile. That says more about me than anything else, I'm sure, but that was why I'd resisted reading anything about it. But actually it was transformative, and here's why. I want to explain a little bit about that to you. So spiky profiling actually refers to the range of skill set that many of us that are neurodivergent have. So I'm autistic and ADHD, and learning about spiky profiling has helped me to view my strengths and my challenges in a completely different way. So neurotypicals, and for that purpose, for this video, what I'm talking about is people that are not autistic and ADHD, that are not neurodivergent. Typically when you look at a profile of a skill set, if you looked at it on a graph, there would be differences between things that people are, better at and other skills they're not so good at. But if you were going to look at it, you would probably see the little spikes. So, fairly rounded skill set in multiple areas. If you look at the profile of somebody that is autistic and ADHD though, that is very different. And what you will see quite often is spikes. So what I mean by that is they're going to be skills that you are exceptional at, that come easy to you, that are natural, that lift you up and you are very good at. You're also likely to have skills that you find frustrating, difficult, or actually impossible. So I'll give you some examples. You might find that you are incredibly good at creative problem solving. So your spike is right up here at the top. You're exceptional at creative problem solving. You might find on the downward spike that you're incredibly poor at data analysis or interpreting data. Now that example is me to a T. I'm great at creative problem solving. Do not give me a spreadsheet or some data to analyse. So when you look at that skill set if you were to look at it against a line, the spikes would be exceptional at creative problem solving, extremely poor at data analysis. You might have something else where you are very good with numbers, where you are great at data analytics, but you can't button your shirt. You can't do up your shoelaces. So again, they are very simple examples, but if you were to look at them, then you would see that there are some very big gaps in things you do exceptionally well and come easy to you, other things that are frustrating, difficult, and even impossible. And I think that's really important to understand when we look at our skill set as a whole. Now, I don't know about you, but I went through my entire life. So I was diagnosed autistic and ADHD in my mid-40s, but prior to that, I went through my whole life with people pointing out the things I was poor at or they expected me to be better at. My school reports read like, she needs to try harder, she needs to focus more, she's capable when she puts her mind to it. And I used to have teachers say to me things like, are you being deliberately stupid? Because I couldn't grasp a concept. I couldn't follow the instructions that they wanted me to follow. And that's gone all the way through my life. I have an extremely poor working short-term memory. And so I can't be given multiple directions if I'm driving a car. You can't say to me, go to the roundabout, turn right, go straight over, turn left. I haven't even remembered the first instruction. Equally in a task, you can't give me a series of instructions and expect me to carry the task out. I'll have no idea. And those are the things that people used to ridicule me, berate me, and become frustrated with me about, to the point that it led me down a path where if somebody had given me verbal instructions in my corporate days when I was working in corporate environments, I'd probably ask 3 times for clarification. And when I could visibly see they were frustrated, I would go off and do whatever I thought needed to be done, only to go back for somebody to say, what have you done? That's not what I asked you to do. I was too embarrassed to ask for written clarification I didn't have the understanding that that was a skill set that was difficult for me. So I'd gone through my life with this feedback of the things I wasn't good enough at and felt I needed to try harder, do more, be better. That narrative really fed in. And nobody ever really celebrated the things that I was good at. I never really got the feedback from others or myself about, wow, you're really good at creative problem solving. You're really good at getting a team to engage and connect with each other and work well together. You know, the things that I was good at, I never focused on. But when you look at spiky profiling and you understand all of your skill sets, so the things you're exceptional at and that are easy, the things that are difficult or impossible or frustrating, and everything in between, when you understand that and then you look to use that in a different way, it can become incredibly powerful. And that isn't about telling yourself to get better at the things that are difficult. It's about setting life up to leverage the strengths and support you through the challenging times. It's about finding a harmony and balance that works for you. Now, this goes a bit further for me because in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about, what does this mean for our next generations? And I had a really interesting conversation with my mum about the school system. So my parents are in their late 70s, and the school system hasn't changed since my parents were at school. The expectation is still that children have a basic skill set, you know, a set skills that they are good, average, competent at, and that's what they're judged on. Now, that's not the society we live in, but also how does that help and support our neurodivergent children, our autistic and ADHD children, if they are constantly being told the things they're not good at and they need to try harder, do more, be better? And there's research that supports that ADHD children have received around 20,000 pieces of additional negative feedback to non-ADHD children by the time they're 12. By the time they're 7 and 8, they've already developed the belief they're not good enough, not smart enough. So what does that do when we've got a school system that is expecting all those children to be average at a lot of skills and they're not? And then they grow up with the belief they're not good enough or smart enough. And that negative narrative has an impact on their confidence, their well-being, their mental health, their achievements, their capabilities. What then? Because for me, that's not acceptable. So how do we start to change the narrative, to spread the word about spiky profiling, for us to embrace our spiky profile without judgment and to utilise it to get the best from our lives? And how do we help change that narrative to support our younger generations? I'm absolutely passionate about this and I'm on a mission to do exactly that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If you're somebody that is autistic and ADHD, maybe you were late diagnosed, maybe you weren't, but how has your experiences from going through the school system, the education system, through perhaps corporate careers or entrepreneurship, how has that affected you? And what advice would you give to our future generation? What would you want to see to change for our future generations? Love to hear from you. Please feel free to comment, reach out to me directly, and let's see if we can make a difference to make a brighter future for our next generations and ourselves in the meantime. Take care, and I'll see you soon.